Hey racers, and welcome back to another live stream. And today's live stream is the top 3 exercises for FINKE. So we are only, I think I was just checking my calendar, and I think we're about 3 weeks away from race day kicking off, and probably only a couple of weeks until most of you are leaving, assuming that you're going down a week or so earlier, and hopefully get some pre-running in. So today's topic is top 3 exercises that you should be using. So in terms of time and improving your training from here on in, you've got about 3 weeks or maybe 2 weeks at the most. So, hey, Stu, you're definitely not going to see major improvements in your training in such a short period of time, but you can definitely refine it and tweak it and get those last little bits, hey, Andrew, out of your training. Before I get into that, I just want to share with you guys, this Wednesday night, I'll be running a FINKE virtual event. So it's the first time I've ever opened this up to everyone. Normally I just do these types of events with the private riders that I work with. And we normally catch up and I map out all of their like nutrition for the weekend. They get this nice fancy PDF, our FINKE starter pack, which gives them nutrient timing, what meals to have, what things to eat, how to undo damage from being in the car in terms of stretches, how to work out and train in the week before, what to have in your camelback, okay, how much protein to get in, how much carbs to get in, all the nerdy stuff. I've done all the hard work over the years, and every year just refined it. And so it's a really great system. So first time I'm opening it up this year for everyone else and not just the guys that I work with. So it will be live on Wednesday night, 6 p.m. my time, which is Perth time, or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for you guys over East. There'll be a couple of bonuses thrown in as well. You will get a replay after, so if you missed the event or aren't able to get there, or you want to go back and there's certain things that you want to look over because there is a lot of information that we're going to cover, then you can go back and look at that. And I'm also going to give you a free copy with every ticket of our FINKE starter pack as well, the 2021 version. So you've got everything mapped out for the weekend, what to do for prologue, what to do for day 1, what to do for day 2, how to eat, what time to get certain foods in. So just taking a lot of the guesswork out of the whole process for you guys. So if you would like to grab a ticket, you're more than welcome to jump on board. You'll still get, even if you aren't able to attend live, you still get the freebies that I talked about. I'll post it up here in the comments for you if you want to jump in. If you work with me, tickets, you get a free ticket if you're currently working with me. If you don't work with me, tickets are $97. So that will cover the online event. That covers the bonus replay that I'll get out to you guys once it's finished. And then also I'll give you our FINKE starter pack, which is the download, and pretty much everything I speak about, we'll just map it out for you so you know exactly what you need to do. Because sometimes with events, it's like you go there and it's all great at the time, and then you come away from it going, well, holy shit, how do I implement this stuff? So if you'd like to grab a ticket, click that link I just put in the comments below and save yourself a spot. To get into today's live stream though, top 3 exercises. So this is not all of the exercises that you should be doing. This is not the only things you should be having in your training. This is just narrowing it down to the top 3. So if I could only pick 3 movements or 3 exercises for a rider, out of every exercise that is out there, these are the 3 that I would pick that I feel are most important for preparation. The first one is back squatting, okay, with the barbell. So the reason I was debating between back squatting and deadlifting, I wasn't sure which one to put in there, but I ended up going with back squat because you can build a lot more leg strength with back squat than what you will with a deadlift. Strength is really important, okay? You don't even have to have raced FINKE to know that you're going to be on the pegs a lot, that it's a very rough track, okay? And you're going to have your work cut out for you. You're going to be up on the pegs a lot, which is why a lot of riders get sore backs when they're riding, but also sore legs. And so the problem is when you get sore legs when you're out riding, you sit down. When you sit down, the whoops become 10 times harder to be able to ride. So any of you guys that have ridden sand or ridden sand at speed, you know the key to that is riding with momentum. Okay, the faster you go, the more momentum you carry. You skim over the top of the whoops, or the back wheel is able to track nicely through the whoops depending on the size, and you can keep up that momentum, and it becomes easier to get through the sand. As soon as you back it off and start to slow down or start to sit down, you hit every single whoop. The back end starts kicking up everywhere. You get all squirrely. You get whiskey throttle. You're gripping on for dear life, so you start getting arm pump. It's just a snowball effect from there. So back squatting is the first thing that I had on my list. And with a barbell. The reason with a barbell is because you can load the bar. So you've got a bike. So let's say you're riding I don't know, let's say a 500, right? An EXC. A lot of you guys ride 500s. So you got a 500 EXC. That's going to weigh over 100 kilos. Like once you put oversized fuel tank on it, all the other stuff that goes on there to get it ready for FINKE, it's well over 100 kilos. And then you've got your body weight on top of that. So you've got your 100 kilo bike plus your body weight on top. So if you're weighing 80 kilos at the moment, that's a minimum of 180 kilos. Okay. Once you factor in all your gear, once you factor in dirt on the bike, all the rest of the stuff that goes on with riding and racing, all the extra additions, camelback, we're looking at well over 180 kilos. So you got 180 kilos that you're trying to wrestle around for 2, 3, 4 hours out on the track. Your legs have to be strong. Okay, there is no question about that. They have to be strong, and the best way to build that type of strength is by using external loads. Okay, there's no amount of body weight squats that you can do that are going to get you the level of leg strength you need to be able to muscle around 180 kilos for 2, 3, or 4 hours. So that's why back squatting was my first one. You'll build tremendous leg strength in a very short period of time. Second thing on my list was bent over rows. So obviously it was a bit of a toss up this one. I was like, okay, do I go with a pushing movement or a pulling movement? But the truth is majority of us are weaker with our pulling movement than we are with pushing. Okay, just in day-to-day life, we do a lot more pushing off things than we do pulling on things. So bent over row was the next one. Again with the barbell, you can use a barbell or a dumbbell, or dumbbells, sorry. The great thing about dumbbells is, when you're using a barbell and you're doing a row, so if I give you an example, like let's say I'm doing a row and I'm pulling up, what happens is the bar gets stuck here, obviously, okay, at your belly button, because it can't go any further because the bar's there. So our range of motion is limited to a degree. When we use dumbbells, we can get up even higher, okay? We can get up past where we could with the barbell, which means we can activate our lats and our upper back a lot more when we use dumbbells. Doesn't mean that barbell's not effective. You can alternate between both, but some type of pulling movement. Because when you're on the bike, it's the same thing. There's a lot of pulling and pushing, right? You're doing both. But like I said, I just picked the top three. I'm not covering everything with these top three. So when you're on the bike, obviously there's a lot of pulling and there's a lot of pushing. Now the great thing about pulling and pushing movements is they transfer over to each other, guys. So a lot of riders, when they first start working with me, we might not be doing bent over rows. We might be doing, say, like overhead presses, right? So they've got a bar or they've got dumbbells and they're pressing up overhead. And they'll go, Andrew, like, why are we doing, I had one of our riders actually, he asked me when we first started working together, he goes, like, why are we doing this like overhead pressing stuff? Like when I'm riding the bike, I feel really weak when I'm out in front. Like I need to be doing more bench presses in my program. We got no bench presses in there. Like instead we're going overhead. Like, can we swap the overhead stuff to the bench press? And I was like, well, first of all, no, we're not going to change the exercises. I'm the one who puts the program together, not you. And everything is there for a specific reason. But the reason you don't have to mimic what's happening on the bike is because muscles, like different movements transfer to other movements. So what I mean by this is when I'm pushing up overhead, I'm using similar muscles to what I use when I bench press. Okay, so when I'm pushing up overhead, I'm using my shoulder, my bicep, my tricep, my forearm, and even part of my pecs, okay, and lats at the back, okay, upper back, traps. When I'm pushing out in front, same thing, okay, I'm using my shoulders, using my triceps, biceps, forearms, pecs, traps, upper back, okay, I'm using all of that lats, using all of those same muscle groups. The only thing that's different is the ratio at which they're used. So obviously, if I'm pressing overhead, I'm not using my pecs as much as what I would use when I'm, say, doing a bench press, but I'm using all of those same muscles. And so what happened for this specific rider is we were doing all of this overhead press during this particular training phase that we're doing, and then we had bench press in the next phase, and his bench press numbers went up. He goes, I would not be able to do these bench press numbers 4 weeks ago, but we haven't even done any bench press. I don't understand. And that's because the muscle groups that you use in certain movements transfer over to other movements. So just because a bent over row looks like it might mimic the bike, or a bench press looks like it might mimic the bike, it doesn't mean you just do bent over rows and bench press 52 weeks of the year. You need to change the exercises around, otherwise you're going to adapt to those exercises and your progress is limited. That's why we do 4-week training blocks. Okay, we're starting to change the exercises around to keep riders progressing. Anyway, bit of a tangent with that one. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you're watching the video. Doesn't always let me know who's on the video. Third thing that third exercise that I chose, since the first two ones were strength training movements, I thought, okay, I better pick something cardio conditioning wise, and that's the rowing machine. Thing I love about the rowing machine, a couple of things, is low impact. Okay, I love low impact cardio and conditioning for riders. Absolutely love it. Generally, riders and racers in general, we've got current injuries or we've got old injuries and niggles. Okay, it's just the nature of the sport. It's not like lawn bowls where you can, or golf, where you can do it for years and years and years and be fine. Usually, if you've been riding for a while and racing for a while, you get some type of injury or niggle. Could be a sore ankle, maybe you broke your arm 10 years ago and that's still an issue, or you've dislocated your collarbone or whatever it is. There's usually some sort of underlying issue there. So when you use high impact cardio, so like say going for a run on the pavement, majority of the time, what starts to happen is those things start to get flared up and become an issue. And so what happens is you're not getting the conditioning and the cardio benefits from the running. The benefit you're getting from, well, what's happening with the running is you're just trying to avoid pain and not be sore, okay, and not be hurting. And so you don't really push yourself then, okay? You're trying to push through pain rather than trying to build your aerobic or anaerobic system, which defeats the whole purpose. So you don't have to run. Jump on the rower, okay? Very low impact, which is great. The other thing about the rower is we're combining upper and lower body together to build conditioning. So like if you go and cycle or you use an exercise bike, it's lower body dominant, okay? You're using your lower body majority of the time for the conditioning piece. There's nothing wrong with that. I use the exercise bike with our guys all the time. But you do want to have something that uses other parts of the body as well, not just lower body all the time. So the great thing about the rower is you're using your legs and you're using your arms together. And that's what makes it so hard and so taxing, which also makes it very effective. The other great thing about it is you can adjust the resistance as well. Okay, you can make the resistance really easy. You can make it really hard. When you're doing a conditioning piece, depending on what you're trying to get from the conditioning piece, the outcome for you or the goal, you want to, especially when we're doing high intensity stuff, a lot of people make the mistake, riders specifically, is they go, okay, I'll get on the rowing machine and they can't wait to tell me that they have it on level 10, right? Because level 10 is the highest you can go on the rower or on a concept 2 rower anyway. And the truth is, it doesn't really matter what resistance you have it on. Okay, so the way a rowing machine works, for those of you that row, is the resistance. So the fan thing, the little thing on the side of the rower, adjusts the resistance, yes, but it doesn't. It changes the amount of meters that you get on the screen. So what I mean by that is, if I put it on number 1, which is ridiculously easy, there's almost no resistance there. When I pull the handle, the meters hardly move on the screen. So I've got to pull really fast, okay, and do lots and lots of strokes to get more meters. Whereas if I put it on, say, level 10, it's really hard to pull, okay, really, really hard to pull. But what happens with every stroke, I'm able to move a lot further. So it resembles a boat, right? If you do like a really deep, really powerful, I don't know what it's called on the boat, a stroke with the oar, the boat it's really hard, but the boat moves forwards a lot. If you do a really shallow, really quick one, okay, it doesn't take much effort from you, but the boat doesn't move forward very far. And it's the same with the Concept 2 row machine. So when you're doing conditioning, you don't want to have it on level 1 and you don't want to have it on level 10. You want to have it at a resistance where you can work hard and fast, but you don't want it to become a strength workout. Okay, so if you've got it on level 10 and you're doing longer intervals, you're doing 500 meter intervals, 400 meter intervals, 300 meter intervals, and you've got it on level 10, chances are that the workout is moving away from a cardio workout or conditioning workout, and it's turning into a strength workout because it's that hard to pull the handle, right? You can't move fast enough to get a conditioning response from it. You're not getting out of breath. It's just really hard to pull. And likewise, if you go too light, there's no resistance at all, or very limited resistance. What happens then is, again, there's not enough resistance for you to get a cardio conditioning workout. So you're not even tired or fatigued at all. There's very limited stress on your body from doing that because it's too easy. So you just need to find something that's in the middle. So for me personally, I will use like a 7.5 to an 8 for majority of workouts. When I did my marathon row, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it was a 7. Maybe in a 6 or a 7 for my marathon row. I can't remember exactly, but it was definitely a lot lower. So when you're doing longer rows, you use a lower resistance, okay, to make sure that you can keep pulling consistently and it doesn't become a strength workout. For shorter intervals and shorter workouts, that's when you can use a higher resistance because you've got a lot more power output because you're only working for a shorter period of time. And so that was my number 3. rowing machine. So first one was a back squat with a barbell. Second one was a bent over row with the barbell. And then the third one was a rowing machine. And just making sure that you have the right resistance. That's the most important thing. Any questions, guys? Anything I can help you guys with? Some of you might have jumped on at the end. Post up any questions, guys, if there's anything I can help you with, or give the video a like if it was somewhat helpful. And for those of you that jumped on a little bit late, I was saying at the start, I'm running a FINKE virtual event on Wednesday night. And so normally I do this only with the private riders that I work with, but this year I've opened it up to everyone. So if you'd like to jump on, I'll be going through all of the nutrition for the weekend or for the event, what to have at prologue, what to put in your camelback, what to have before races, after races, the night before, after day one, stretches you should be doing, the workouts you should be doing in the 7 days leading up, how to put your meals together when you're out on the go and maybe you don't have your normal food, what supplements to be able to take, recovery techniques that I recommend to reduce soreness for day 2, all of that sort of stuff. So that sounds like something that's really going to help you for the event. Then I encourage you to come along. You can click the link in the comments and you can grab a ticket if you like. Also, as bonuses with every ticket, you'll get the replay of the whole call. So if you can't make it, you'll still get a copy. There'll be Q&A at the end of the call. Answer any questions you've got. And you will also get the FINKE Starter Pack 2021 version as well. So every year since I've been coaching in 2015, I think it was, I had this FINKE document that I put together at the start. And I just started off, I think it was like with one rider. I was like, oh, this will be helpful for this person. And then over the years, it's just progressed and grown, and I've added things in and changed things and adjusted things as I've gone. So it's got, 5 years since there was no racing last year. 5 years of revisions and tweaking and testing. So if you'd like to jump, come along to the event, welcome to come along. Hey, Andrew, for everyone that works with me currently, you get a free ticket. If you don't currently work with me, but you would like to come along, tickets are $97 each. And that covers your spot live, so you can ask any questions you like at the end, covers your free replay that you'll get after the event, and also the FINKE Starter Pack as well, which you can download. So what that does is just gives you a really clear format of what to follow, because truthfully, there's so much stuff you can do, right? And I can overwhelm the shit out of you with all the information and all the different strategies and all the things that can help you. But at the end of the day, giving you a whole heap of information isn't really the helpful thing, right? The helpful thing is, what's the number one thing you can implement that's going to get you the biggest result or the biggest improvement in your performance? And then just focusing on that. So that's really what the event's designed for, is I want to help each and every one of you find what's the number one thing you need to work on? What's the number one thing that's going to help you to move forward? Is it what you're having in your camelback? Okay, is it what you're having before the race? Is it the stretches? Is it the recovery techniques? What's the number one thing that you need, is going to be a problem for you? And then I want to help you to overcome that, so you can do your best. And if you've been to FINKE before, hopefully it's the best year you've had yet. And the track is, from what I've heard, the track is a lot faster than previous years, so it should be fun. Stu, full squat versus half squat, or mix it up? I never do half squats. Always full squats. I don't really see the purpose of doing half squats. If you can do, the stronger you can get your full squat. So like when you're on the bike, right? Obviously you're not going into a full squat when you're on the bike. So if we look at the bike, like you're bent over in the attack position, or even if you're sitting down, right? You're sitting down, your ass is only coming up this far off the seat. It's not coming up that far. But if you can train a full squat and get your full squat a lot stronger, then coming up and down off the seat this much is going to be very easy. So I always train full squat. You also train different muscle groups when you do a full squat compared to doing, say, a half squat. So the top portion of a squat is more quad dominant. When you get to the bottom of the squat, it's more glute and hamstring dominant. So if you're only training the top, you're only really training your quads all of the time. If you're training a full depth squat, you're going to train your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads. You get a lot better. You're going to build a lot more overall strength through your lower body. The problem is a lot of people can't do full squats because they don't have the mobility or the flexibility. That can be changed and improved 100%, but you just got to know what exercises to use, what things you specifically need to be working on to do a full depth squat. When I say a full depth squat, it's talking hips below parallel. Okay, so if you're doing a squat, I won't be able to show you because I don't have enough room here. but you want to make sure that your hips are below parallel. Okay, so you should look when you see your femur. Okay, the bone where your quads are. That should be sitting on an angle like this. Okay, so it starts up like this. When you're straight, that should be squatting down. Okay, bending at the knees, and should be below parallel, and then coming back up. But if you don't have the mobility for that, that's probably not going to be effective. You're probably going to hurt your back and get sore knees and all the rest of it. So, again, what's best and what you can do. So I don't know for you, Stu, what level you're at with your training or how long you've been training for. If you've got the mobility for it, always full squats. If you don't, then maybe start with half squats and then work on progressing to doing full squats and find out what you need to do to improve your flexibility, whether it's ankles, hamstrings, hips, whatever it is for you, knees, whatever you feel needs the help. Any other questions, guys? Anything else? Anything else I can answer? Any other questions? Who's going to FINKE? I know there's a few of you on here. Maybe just let me know in the comments who's actually going to FINKE for this year. Don't be shy. All right, everyone's being shy. Any other questions, guys? Anything else I can help you with? Awesome. Jason's going. Cool. Andrew, awesome. Sweet. Good stuff. So we've got a couple of you in here heading over. Good stuff. Awesome. So for you guys, like being 3 weeks to go now, still plenty of time to make progress. Still plenty of time to push. So you should really, if you're leaving a week before, awesome. Third time doing it, Andrew. Sweet. Awesome. You're going as well, Stu. Great. Good stuff, guys. Sweet. Third time's good. I think the hardest thing for any new race is when you go and race somewhere the first time, there's a lot of unknowns, isn't there? You're trying to figure everything out, understand how everything works. It's the same with any event. And then once you've done it the first time, it's like riding a new motocross track or a new enduro track. Once you've done it the first time, then you can kind of get all that stuff out of the way, like the logistics and what's the track going to be like and what to expect, because you've kind of got a rough idea of what's coming or what to expect going in. So then you can just focus on the racing rather than trying to figure out the track the whole time. Mark, good to have you here. FINKE and Hada, good stuff. And Andrew Lamshed, good stuff. You're heading over as well. Awesome. Good work, guys. What's a good morning protein for breakfast? If you mean just a protein source, if that's what you mean, I don't know if you mean protein shake or protein source. If you're talking about protein source, then what you could have, like just meat, could be chicken, could be beef, could be lamb, could be pork, any good quality meat. Not processed meats. So when I say processed, it's not salamis and hams and things like that. It's butcher meat, stuff you get from a butcher. Usually, if you can get it from a butcher, it's good quality meat. If it's coming from the deli section, like salamis and things like that, then not going to be the best quality source. In terms of best source, and something triggered me to think about this the other day, so I'm glad that you asked that. With every type of meat out there, right, and this goes for any food, okay, like what's the best fruit to have, what's the best meat to have, what's the best carbs to have, what's the best this to have, what's the best that to have. In terms of research, you can find research for anything these days, right? There is so much research out there that research almost, not all the time, it is helpful, but it almost gets to a point with research where everything has research that research doesn't even mean anything, right? It's like, oh, you should have blueberries because of this, or you should have bananas because of this, or you should have apples because of this. It's like, same with meat. You should have steak because of this. You should have beef because of this. You should have only grass-fed because of this, or have chicken because of this, or have, chicken breasts that come from the Arctic bloody ocean because of this. Like, you can find, you can back up just about every single argument, but at the end of the day, the fundamentals are the fundamentals. Pick a meat that you like. If you like it, you're going to eat it more often. If you eat it more often, you're going to get the results more often. If you pick something just based on what's the best, but you don't really like it, you're probably not going to eat it too often. If you're not going to eat it too often, you're probably not going to get the results too often either. Just easy meal. Find it hard to cook in the morning. I probably wouldn't cook in the morning then if you find it hard to cook. So a couple of things. Mark, probably need to get organized. Get your shit together the night before, cook it up the night before. Make some little quiches. That's one of the things I recommend for our guys if they're doing stuff the night before. Get a muffin tin, beat up some eggs with some bacon, and put some other stuff in there. Put some tomatoes, put some mushrooms in there, whatever you like, and pour the mixture into a muffin tin, and then put that in the oven for 3 to 5 minutes, and then they're all cooked. Put them in little snap lock freezer bags. Put them in the freezer. When you get up in the morning, you can either take them out the night before and let them defrost, put them in the microwave in the morning, or eat them cold on the way to work and they're ready to go. Otherwise, you could use a shake. Um, it's not something I recommend all the time. One of our riders drives an hour to work every day, and he gets up at 4:30, okay, to drive an hour. So when we first started working together, he was like, well, the breakfast is a bit everything's nailed, but I'm having trouble with the breakfast. And I was like, okay, well, why are you having trouble with the breakfast? And the reason he was having trouble with the breakfast was because he was getting up so early. He had to get up another half an hour early to cook his food to be able to travel an hour. So what we did for him was a shake. So we did a protein powder, and then we put frozen fruits in there, and then what else did we put in there? I think we put yogurt in there, and some nuts, some almonds. I can't remember exactly. We went through it together and made a shake together. So he has his shake, he has his breakfast in a shake form on his hour drive on the way to work. He gets an extra half hour of sleep every day, which is another, 3 or 4 hours sleep a week, which is great for recovery. He feels better and he can get his food in at the same time. Keish, good idea. Awesome, Mark. Sweet. So maybe just need to be a bit more organized, forward thinking with what's happening for breakfast rather than tackling it in the morning if you're, everyone has a different chronotype for sleep. And so what that means is some of you guys are morning guys. Some of you guys don't even need an alarm in the morning, and you wake up at 5 o'clock, and you love getting up and doing shit and going in the shed and having a big breakfast in the morning, and you're a morning person. And some of you are not like that. Some of you have a different chronotype, and you don't like getting up early, and you have to put an alarm on all the time. You always feel tired in the morning if you're getting up early, no matter how many hours you sleep, and no matter how early you've gone to bed. And you don't really feel like eating in the morning. You get up and you have breakfast, and you're more doing it because you feel like you have to rather than wanting to, and it takes you a few hours to get going. But by the time you get to like lunchtime, that's probably when you have your most energy for the day. Whereas the guys that were pumped up in the morning, they nosedive towards lunchtime, and they're ready to go to sleep again. So, yeah, awesome, Mark. So you sound a little bit like me. So for me, like I would rather, if I had my way, like I would sleep in the morning. I wouldn't be I don't get up early anyway because I can choose to do that with coaching, which works out well because I contact most of our riders in the afternoons or after work anyway. So it works well with my type of work. But for you guys, you might not have that choice. Like sometimes you just have to get up early, and that's your hours. Like when I was working at Mitre 10, you start at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. That's the time that you get given. So work with your strengths as much as you can. So like you're saying, mate, always train in the evening. Same for me. I hate training in the mornings. But other people are the opposite, and they absolutely love training in the mornings. Excuse me, I'm a bit blocked up today. Woken up, I don't know what happened. I was cleaning the shower in the weekend, using all these professional grade. We had a lot of soap and shit on the shower screen, and I was using all these chemicals, and they made me feel like shit afterwards. I probably should have had a mask on, but now I've woken up today feeling like shit. So anyway, Mark, wasn't sure if eggs were a good source, as I thought meat was the go. Yeah, you can have. Everything. So like I said, like there's good sources, and there's what you enjoy to do. So sometimes, let's say there's a whole different variation of options that you could have for breakfast, right? Some of them might be a 10 out of 10 for what's going to get you performing at your best, and some of them are a 1 out of 10, right? Now, a 10 out of 10 might be great in theory, so when we're chatting about it, it sounds good, but when it comes to actual practice and putting it into action, maybe you don't like the food that's a 10 out of 10. And so you don't really do it, or you only do it a few times when there's a big race meeting coming up, right? So sometimes it's better to drop back to an 8 out of 10 and do the 8 out of 10 every day and love it and enjoy it than it is to do the 10 out of 10 sporadically and not really get the results from it. So like eggs are a good source of protein. Meat is a good source of protein. I used to eat meat for breakfast for years. It's called a meat and nuts breakfast, which was popularized by a really well-known strength and conditioning coach that worked with a lot of Olympians, and I used to do that for years. But I've been doing this stuff for a long time, right? Like years and years and years. Like just in terms of strength and conditioning training, it's been 11 years, starting 2010. This will be 11 years, right? Like that's a long time to be doing this stuff for. And I'm always doing it. So there's been, like I've done a reasonable amount of years of doing the meat and nuts breakfast, and I just got to a stage where I was just sick of it. I was just like, I don't want to have meat for breakfast anymore. I've had chicken, I've had pork, I've rotated it all around, I've done all that sort of stuff. So like my breakfast at the moment, as of right now, what did I have this morning? I had 2 pieces of gluten-free bread and I had 2 eggs with salt and pepper. Okay, and that's where I'm at the moment. And that's not a 10 out of 10 breakfast. That's not the best possible breakfast that I could have to be performing at my best. But the reason I do it is because I enjoy it at the moment and I like it and I know I'll get up every morning and have it. So maybe it's a 7 or an 8, okay, or maybe even a 6 out of 10, depending on what could be ideal for breakfast. But I know I'll do that every morning. Whereas if at the moment I force myself to have meat and I really don't want to have meat because I've done it for so many years, I'm probably just not going to do it, and I'm not going to enjoy it, and I'm not going to want to get up and make it, and I'm not going to want to get up early to do it, and I'll probably just miss breakfast or not do it at all, and then I get no results. So that's why sometimes it's better to do a 6, a 7, or an 8 consistently than it is to try and do a 10 out of 10 and do it once or twice. Because at the end of the day, it's what you do consistently that's going to get you progress, not what you do once or twice that's going to get you progress. And that's the difference with coaching. So most, and this is maybe getting a little bit off tangent, a bit off topic from what I've been talking about, but a lot of programs and things out there will like give you the resources and what you need. This is what's ideal. Here's a training program. Here's a nutrition plan. Piss off. I don't want to see you again until it's time to charge your credit card again for the next training cycle, right? That's how a lot of people operate, which is fine. That's one way of doing things. But for a lot of people, that doesn't work. Okay, from a client, from a rider perspective, that doesn't work. And the reason that doesn't work is because people don't really have a problem with information. We've got more information available than what we've ever had. What's the hard bit is how do you implement that into your life to make sure that you can do it and actually implement it and get the results from it. So like I was talking about before, one of our riders who was getting up early, he wasn't going to have breakfast. He was probably never going to have breakfast. I could give him a nutrition plan and give him 20 different meal recipes for breakfast. He's probably just not going to do it because he's not going to get up at 3:30 or 4 in the morning when he's already traveling an hour. So that's the purpose of coaching is like, okay, well, what are some other ways that we can still get the result that we're after, but fit it into your lifestyle? Because that's where the results are. It's with the implementation. Okay, it's not the intention. The intention might be good. It's the implementation. Same with training. People tell me all the time, like I chat to riders, we work with three 1-hour blocks of training every week. And so every now and then I get someone that I chat to and they're like, oh yeah, I train 6 days a week. 3 hours is going to be, 3 1-hour blocks is going to be no problem. And then we go through the weeks and I'm like, this person's going to smash it. And then we go through the weeks and the person's doing like 2 sessions a week and they're struggling to get their third. And it's every week they're getting 2 sessions, not 3. I'm going, you were training 6 sessions before. It's not that hard to get 3 sessions in. That's because they never actually hitting 6 sessions. They intended to hit 6 sessions, but what they actually implemented wasn't 6 sessions. And that's why they're struggling. So implementation over intention all of the time. Hopefully that helps, Mark. Probably went on for a little bit there, but anyway. Any other questions, guys? Well, that's it for now. Anyway, if any of you guys are doing FINKE, I do encourage you to come along to the FINKE virtual event on Wednesday night. I'll put the link again in the comments because it might have got buried. It's got everything in there that I'm going to cover. I am super confident this is going to help you out a shit ton. Okay, even if you just find one area to help improve your performance. Okay, if it's just finding out what you need to put in your camelback to have more consistent energy. Like, look at all the time, energy, money that goes into racing FINKE for something so small that you could have adjusted, like keeping hydrated in a better way or fueling yourself better before. I feel like everyone puts all their time and energy in the bike and what type of tires and where am I going to run my steg pegs and where am I going to have my fuel stops, and then they just forget about themselves. It's like everything's focused on everything else, and then the rider's like number 52 on the list, when the rider should be number 1 on the list, right? Because you're going to be better off having a shit bike and have a great rider than to have a great bike and a shit rider, okay? Because at the end of the day, the rider's the thing that's going to get the bike across the line, not the bike it by itself. So hopefully, you guys that are doing FINKE, encourage you guys to come along, grab a ticket. Like I said, if you're currently working with me, the tickets are free. If you're not working with me at the moment, the tickets are $97 each. That includes a free replay of the whole event, the live event itself on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. for you guys over East, 6 p.m. for you guys in WA. And I'll also give you our FINKE starter pack as well, which gives you an outline of what to do before at each fuel stop, what to do before your race, 3 to 4 hours before your race, what you should be doing in the 7 days leading up to the event, the works, okay, absolutely everything. And if by chance there is anything that I haven't covered, which I doubt it, if there happens to be, there'll be Q&A at the end. So any questions you've got, anything you're not sure about, or I can clarify for you, that will be at the end of the call. So if you'd like to jump on it and you'd like to be there, I'd love to be able to have you there and help you. Click on the link in the comments, wherever it is below, grab your ticket, and then I'll see you there on Wednesday night. But otherwise, enjoy your day today, guys, and I will hopefully see you on Wednesday night. See ya.